There are many expressions used in English, and you need to know these expressions because Americans will use them. And when they use them, they have a certain meaning. They're just maybe one line, some information. But if you don't know them, you will miss the information. So let's go over some of the popular expressions used in the United States. The first one we have here is back to the drawing board. This is a drawing board, and as you know, it's where you make plans, where you construct information. And so to go back to the drawing board is go back to the place where you started and to start over, meaning that you need to redo what you have created. For example, our ideas were rejected, so it looks like we're back to the drawing board. The next one is the ball is in your court, or his court, or whatever. The ball is in your court, let's say. Now, this reference to tennis means that it's someone turn to respond in a situation that goes back and forth, meaning that I have asked you a question or I need more information and it's back in your court. You need to give me that information. Let's give an example. We've made our offer. Now the ball is in their court, meaning we've made the offer that they have to decide and answer our offer. Now you got guy on the computer here, right? What's he doing? Bang one's head, bang my head against the wall. That is a expression used when someone is angry or frustrated. He's tired of banging his head against the wall when working with difficult customers online. It's a form of frustration. I'm banging my head against the wall. I don't seem to make any progress. I don't know what's wrong. I'm banging my head against the wall. Here we have bark is worse than his bite, or your bite, or whatever. His bark is worse than his bite. And essentially it's to look or to sound mean or dangerous, but in reality, you're relatively harmless. You're not really dangerous. You make a lot of noise, like a lot of dogs do. They make a lot of noise, but when you approach them, they're going to run. Okay, so their bark is worse than their bite. Don't worry about the Poco. Don't worry about Poco. This is Poco. He might look mean, but his bark is worse than his bite. Now we have Poco again, okay. So we say, bark up the wrong tree. Okay, he's barking up the wrong tree. He's wasting one's time to do something and not get results. He's not getting results. You're barking up the wrong tree if you think I can help you. You'll have to ask someone else. Meaning, okay, I can't help you, I don't want to help you, whatever. You're just wasting your time asking me to help you. You're barking up the wrong tree. Now we go over here, batten down the hatches. This is an old Navy team. You can pretty well figure out what that means. If you get ready for something bad or a serious situation, and it sends on that batten down the hatches, a big storm is coming. Well, on a ship, when a storm is coming, the waves are coming over the ship, the hatches have to be sealed so all the water doesn't get into the boat. So essentially we batten down the hatches. We better take a precaution here. because something is about ready to happen. Then we have an expression, be my guest, okay? It means go ahead, it's okay. It's okay to use something or something that a person owns. I have a guitar, be my guest, use it, Do you mind if I try your guitar? No, not at all. Be my guest, meaning it's okay with me, fine, okay? Then we go down to this one, which says, be that as it may. Okay, what does it mean? This is true, but, that's a big thing, but, there's a big storm ahead of us, okay? Be that as it may, we're just going to have to drive right through it. There it is. We can't avoid it. There's the truth. It's the truth. And there's the storm, or whatever storm. That could be a condition in your life, or whatever. So be that as it may. Then we have another one. This is beat a dead horse. Well, if a horse falls over dead and you want it to get up and you keep beating on it, it's not going to get up. It's just a waste of your time. Okay? So you keep doing the same thing over and over again. You're just beating a dead horse. Okay, down here, trying to get an answer from that company is like beating a dead horse. They just won't return my calls. Have an expression here, beat someone at one's own game. Beat someone at their own game. Okay? It simply means you gain an advantage over someone who is good or at something, or is strong in a strong position, but you use more or less the same rules, the same situation, and you become the winner. You use their own game, their own way to win the argument, to win the situation. Sarah thinks she can beat her older co-workers at their own game by making use of the internet to increase sales. Beating the living daylights out of someone. It has a tank over there. But it means, either you're in a fight with somebody and you really plastered them bad and you won, you bloodied them or whatever. And here, the U.S. military forces beat the living daylight out of the Taliban in Afghanistan. Down here we have been there, done that. Oh, it's one of my favorite expressions. It means you've done it. You have a lot of experience in different areas, and you try to tell something to somebody, do that or don't do that, and you say, I've been there, I've done that. To say that to someone has already done something, to say that and the experience is not new. Be careful with this expression. It can sound a little rude. Okay, but I don't know. I like it. Been there, done that. Okay. Oh, I'm going to get married. I've been there, I've done that. I will warn you. So listen what he says. Oh, he's going to the Mall of America. Big deal. Been there, done that. Okay, begin to see light. It means exactly that, You're trying to understand something, somebody's trying to convince you of something, and then suddenly you realize what the person's talking about. You get what they're talking about. Okay, so an example, Americans are beginning to see the light when it comes to global climate change. They're beginning to understand and are willing to do something about it. Better late than never. Well, it's better to be late than not to show up at all. Okay, and I guess a lot of us have done that. We've gone to a meeting or something like that, we show up and it's late, it's in the middle of the meeting, but we're there, we showed up, we arrived at the meeting, and we'll get whatever we can out of it. Bob thought it was better to be late than never to meet Carl outside the movie theater. When he gave her some flowers, she forgave him for being so late. Okay, that's one thing. I guess that's Carol, not Carl. Okay? Better safe than sorry. Well, it's better to do anything that will keep you safe rather than to do nothing and take a risk. So we have an example. Rhonda always wears her seatbelt when she's driving, figuring it's better to be safe than sorry. And she might think it's a bit stupid to wear these belts are uncomfortable, but she's going to do it because she will be safe if there's an accident. Between a rock and a hard place. That means to be caught between two difficult situations and to make a decision between the two possibly are bad outcomes in both situations. But, put another expression, you choose the less of the evil, okay, the less of the two of them. Henry was between a rock and a hard place when he had to decide whether to stay with his wife and kids or go serve in the military. Very good. A big fish in a small pond. Here's another one I like. A person whose circle of friends or business acquaintances is very small, thereby inflating his or her feeling of importance. Here we have Rodney would never move his business from Knoxville to New York. He's like being a big fish in a small pond. And we can say, although it's better to be a small fish, we don't want to be a small fish in a big pond, okay? It's better to be a big fish in a small pond than a little fish in a big pond. Because if he goes to New York, goes from a small town to a large town, he's got a lot of competition. So he's a small fish in a big pond. Here we have, the bigger they come, the harder they fall. Simply means that the larger the person or the thing, the more difficult it is to bring down. This is usually used with people, but it can be used with things. Bigger they are, bigger they come, the harder they fall. That means that when they do fall, even if it's like, say, IBM, if it fails, it's a big fall. But if some little corner store fails in business, it's not a big fall, okay? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Okay, chopping down a tree is going to be a challenge. The bigger they come, the harder they fall. Bite off more than you can chew. To try to do something that might be too difficult to accomplish. You don't have the experience, the skill, the height, the weight, or whatever. Gordon thought he could build the house all by himself, but it looks like he bit off more than he can chew. Yeah. Another one, bite the hand that feeds you. Well, that means to hurt someone who helps you, to go against the person or thing that provides something necessary. Like, for example, you insult your boss and you lose your job. You bit the hand that feeds you, man. We were all surprised to hear Lisa say something so mean to her boss's face. It's not wise to bite the hand that feeds you, meaning she might lose her job or might not get any promotions. Blind leading the blind. This means to follow or lead people without necessary skills to choose a bad leader. Okay, the blind, in other words, I'm going to tell you what to do, and I know nothing about what I'm telling you to do, and you don't know what to do, and I don't know what to do, so it's like the blind leading the blind. It's hard to believe that they choose him as the new leader. It's like the blind leading the blind. Born with a silver spoon in one's mouth. Well, that means to be born rich. He doesn't understand the financial difficulties faced by average people. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He just doesn't know. He's always had his life as easy. He never struggled. So he thinks everybody, it shouldn't struggle. It should be easy. Breathe new life into something, to make something new again. Okay, we're going to try to breathe new life into the old house by remodeling it. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. That's a favorite of mine in the morning when I got my cup of coffee in my hand, right, ready to do something, especially early in the morning. I don't feel bright-eyed and bushy-tailed until I've had a cup of coffee in the morning. Okay, we use this expression, bring a child into the world, to have a baby. They can think of no greater responsibility than to bring a baby into the world. Buck stops here. Well, that means the responsibility for a decision and results is found at the top of an organization. Recently, by President Truman said this. In other words, when I make a decision to do something, the buck stops here, meaning I'm responsible. The buck stops here. If we lose money on this deal, I take responsibility for the obsession. Burn one's bridge. Okay, many of us do that. By burning your bridge, you're unable to go back to a previous position. You do or say something that makes it impossible to return to the situation before. Victor was warned not to burn his bridges when he left his job to work at another company. You might want to go back, even whatever. Maybe he had an argument and left. He burned his bridges. Burn the candle at both ends. That's to work or play too much, not to get enough sleep because of activity. Oh, many of us do that, right? We go to lots of parties and, we're very tired and we go to work and we really can't keep our eyes open. We burn our candles at both ends, If you have a candle and you light both ends of it, it pretty well consumes it quickly. Darrell thinks he can burn the candle at both ends, but because he stays up so late, he's having a hard time getting things finished during the day. Here we have the last two. Busy as a beaver. There's a beaver, in case you don't know. Beavers are busy all the time, cutting down trees, building their dam, whatever. They appear to be never without time to rest. Beavers are known to work very hard at building their homes, and so it seems as if you're always working. When someone works very hard or is always busy, we say he's busy as a beaver. And then finally we have this one, by the skin of one's teeth, by the skin of my teeth. It means to finish something just in time to reach a goal, but just barely, minutes before it's due. Okay? He made it on time to his meeting by the skin of his teeth. Well, people, try to memorize these, go over them, and try to memorize. They're very common expressions used in English, and we do this, English tends to be picturesque. We like to make pictures. And someone can use these expressions, and if you don't know them, you have failed to understand their meaning.